Early in my career, I was driven, so focused on proving myself, that I said yes to everything that came at me. Extra projects, new leadership roles, responsibilities that weren't even mine. And here's what I didn't see at the time. In some ways, I let myself be walked on because I was driven, reliable, and conscientious. Those qualities became the very thing that kept me stuck. Now, from the outside, it looked like ambition, like I was ascending. But on the inside, I was trampling my own soil. The result? Exhaustion, resentment, and the quiet nagging feeling that I was shrinking instead of expanding. And it all felt so wrong. It took stepping back. And yes, it felt terrifying at first to realize that. Hi there, I'm Wendy Rimmelsbacher, and welcome to the podcast show, Dim to Daring. Do you feel like there's something bigger waiting for you, but you're not sure how to make it happen? You're in the right place. I'm here to bring you inspiring stories, powerful insights, and practical strategies to help you reignite your spark, realign with your purpose, and take those bold steps towards the life you were meant to live. Let's dive in, because you're not finished yet. You're just getting started. One careless step can destroy 50 years of growth. My Jeep driver in Sedona taught me that, standing on a desert trail, pointing at what looked like ordinary dirt, and it completely changed how I think about the way driven women like us approach our own potential. Hi there, I'm not a botanist, but that won't stop me from sharing some really interesting, science-y stuff I learned while on vacation in Sedona, Arizona. After all, I did take one semester of botany as a college freshman, but please, don't ask me about my grade. Let's just say it didn't lead to a career in a lab coat. But what I discovered out in the Arizona red rocks turned into the perfect metaphor for something I see all the time with ambitious women who know they're meant for more, but can't figure out why they feel so stuck. I have to tell you, I completely fell in love with Sedona. Those red rocks, the colors, and how they shift as the light changes, and especially during a sunset. And the desert, how it smelled like sage after the rain. It was so breathtaking. But our arrival came with a little adventure. As we flew into the Phoenix vicinity, a monsoon storm hit, and our flight was redirected to Ontario, California, although we were almost ready to land in Phoenix. And the Phoenix airport was shut down for quite a few hours. We eventually made it to our destination, hours later than anticipated. You know how those vacations go. When you have a schedule, you want to stick to it, and those things happen that are out of our control. Well, for the first 2 days in Sedona, parts of the day were filled with rain, thunder that cracked so loud it echoed off the rock canyon walls, and lightning that lit up the desert sky. We experienced it firsthand, and it made the desert feel even much more alive. I'm sharing one of the awesome adventures we signed up for in Sedona. It was a desert tour. So picture this. I'm in the back of a bright pink open-air Jeep, bumping along the red dirt and rock trails that wind between majestic red towering rock formations. Our driver and guide, let's call her Jessica, who clearly knew her stuff, stops the Jeep to point out the dark, crusty layer on the ground. To me, it looked like the ground after a fire roared through the area. She motioned for us all to look and said, "This is biological soil crust, or cryptobiotic soil. It's alive, and it's one of the most important parts of the desert ecosystem." Okay, that got my attention. She explained that this blackish, bumpy top layer isn't just dirt. It's made of living organisms, mosses, fungi, bacteria, all tangled together. They bind the soil, hold precious moisture in this dry climate, and prevent erosion. It's like the nature's invisible glue holding the desert all together. And here's the jaw dropper. This crust can take 50 to 250 years to fully form. But just one careless step, one boot print from someone wandering off trail can destroy it. And once damaged, it can take 50 years or more to recover. So here's my takeaway. Be more intentional about where you step. That really hit me. Because how many times have we done that to ourselves? How often have you stepped all over your own fragile growth because you thought you should be further along by now? Be honest. Then Jessica, the driver, added, as she continued driving along on our tour, by the way, Sedona isn't just pretty. During summer monsoons, the skies can crack wide open with hundreds of lightning strikes every day. The desert has to survive extreme, unpredictable weather while this delicate crust is forming. So I looked around at the red rocks, the vast open sky, and thought, wow. See, no other words other than a feeling of being in an awesome place came to me. This fragile crust isn't just delicate. It's surviving and thriving under forces that could destroy it at any moment. Think like the things that hit it, like thunder, the flash floods, the extreme heat of summer, and the suddenness of storms. And it made me think about you, about us. Driven women quietly form strength under pressures that aren't even talked about. The expectations we have, the self-doubt that arises, the voice that says you should be further along, and the comparison to someone else's timeline. Your growth is a lot like that crust. It's happening, it's real, and it's far more fragile and resilient than it looks. Let's go back to that cryptobiotic soil, just because it's really cool to say that word. That hidden, humble life felt like the perfect metaphor for the kind of growth we don't always honor. Often it doesn't look like much is happening on the surface. It's quiet and it's subtle. Maybe it's even invisible to everyone around you. But underneath, life is forming. It is a lot like you, with new neural pathways forming as you challenge old thinking, and new confidence as you speak up in that meeting, new courage as you start researching what's next for you, even if you haven't told anyone yet. And here's what we forget. It's fragile. We feel it, but we don't think about that. When you rush your growth by comparing yourself to others, judging your pace, or pushing yourself with the same intensity that got you stuck in the first place, it's like stepping off trail. You're crushing what's still trying to take root. That woman who's been in the same role for 5 years, doing excellent work, but never quite stepping forward for the promotion, she's not lazy. She's forming roots. Let's call these roots self-trust, boundaries, and clarity. If this sounds like you might be stepping on your own crust by telling yourself you're not ready yet. If you know you're meant for a next chapter, a pivot, a reinvention, something entirely new, but feel paralyzed, you're not stuck. You're in the formation stage. But if you keep comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel, you'll erode your own foundation. Sometimes the most daring thing you can do is stay on the trail. Give yourself permission to grow slowly, beautifully, and intentionally without any apology. Okay, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what subtle shift have I noticed in myself lately that might be quietly growing? Is it something like patience, confidence, courage, or willingness to question the status quo? Make a mental note or jot it down and give it a little space to take root and thrive. Journal about it, meditate about it, and see what comes up for you. I've had my own erosion seasons, and haven't we all? Early in my career, I was driven, so focused on proving myself, that I said yes to everything that came at me. Extra projects, new leadership roles, responsibilities that weren't even mine. And here's what I didn't see at the time. In some ways, I let myself be walked on because I was driven, reliable, and conscientious. Those qualities became the very thing that kept me stuck. It's difficult to recognize this pattern when you're in it, when you're trying so hard to progress. But later, it becomes painfully obvious. And by then, setting boundaries feels nearly impossible after you've trained everyone around you to expect your endless yes. Now, from the outside, it looked like ambition, like I was ascending. But on the inside, I was trampling my own soil. I wasn't giving myself time to integrate what I was learning, to reflect on what I actually wanted, or to set boundaries that would protect my energy. I was dimming my own light by holding too tightly to a version of success that wasn't even mine. It wasn't meant for me. The result? Exhaustion, resentment, and the quiet nagging feeling that I was shrinking instead of expanding. And it all felt so wrong. It took stepping back. And yes, it felt terrifying at first to realize that patience protects progress. And once I gave my soil time to recover, that's when saying yes to opportunities outside the status quo actually energized me instead of draining me. New seeds could finally take root. Growth isn't a race. Your timeline is your own. And choosing to honor your pace, even when everyone around you seems to be sprinting, that, my friend, is a daring choice in itself. Here's the beautiful part. Growth doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. The cryptobiotic soil isn't formed in one giant leap. It's the slow, persistent accumulation of countless tiny organisms working consistently over decades. A spore lands, a thread of fungi takes hold, moisture is captured, one small life anchors another. And you're the very same. Every small habit builds your foundation. Every tiny boundary you set protects your energy. Every brave yes to something that scares you a little, or every intentional no to what drains you, strengthens your inner landscape. Think of your micro wins as invisible roots. They're anchoring you so you can withstand life's storms, even when nothing dramatic seems to be happening above the surface, yet. Maybe it's asking for feedback on that idea you've been sitting on. Maybe it's blocking off time on your calendar for strategic thinking. Maybe it's admitting out loud, even if just to yourself, that you're ready for something different. These aren't small things. They're necessary, soil-building things. Take just a minute and pause. What's one micro win you can celebrate this week? Could it be that you're setting a boundary you've been avoiding? Or that you're taking a walk to clear your head? Or maybe you're researching a new opportunity or saying yes to a small but meaningful challenge. Notice how these little wins build the kind of resilience that lets you grow into your next chapter. Let's continue to pause for a moment. If you can, close your eyes or bookmark this to try later if you're driving, please. Picture your inner landscape. So maybe your landscape is like the beautiful Sedona desert, Or perhaps you're choosing a garden or a forest. Whatever comes to mind is perfect. It's perfect for you. Now notice the small signs of life there, even if you're just beginning. A tiny green shoot. Maybe there's a patch of stronger soil. A new idea is taking shape. Imagine protecting that space, giving it water, light, and time. Imagine yourself stepping lightly around it so you don't crush what's still fragile. What does this growing part of you need? More rest? More curiosity? Permission to explore without judgment? Space to make mistakes? And what do you need to keep out? The comparison trap? The voice that says you should be further along? The pressure to have it all figured out before you take one small step? Feel how grounding it is to honor your own space and pace. Your growth, like the desert soil, is alive. It's forming roots, and it's resilient when you treat it with care. Take a deep breath, and when you're ready, come back. So what do you need to protect your growth right now? And just as importantly, what do you need to stop doing that's trampling it? Notice what comes up. No judgment, just awareness of what is. I know what it's like to want progress now, to want clarity, confidence, and the next chapter all figured out. But here's what I've learned and what that cryptobiotic soil taught me all over again. Growth takes time. It needs rest, patience, and protection. Maybe you're in a season like that right now. Not a lot of visible movement, but shifts are happening quietly inside. You're questioning things you used to accept. You're noticing what drains you. You're starting to imagine what's possible beyond the status quo. That doesn't mean you're stuck. It means your roots are anchoring deeper, building strength, self-trust, clarity, and boundaries. The kind that holds steady when opportunities arise, when it's finally time to step forward. And here's the daring part. Just showing up every day to nurture that growth, even with small actions, mindful choices, or simply giving yourself permission to wonder, what if? That, my friend, is courage. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to protect the seeds that are taking root and nurture them every day. Because the woman you're becoming, she's forming right now, quietly and powerfully. And she deserves the time and space to emerge fully on her own timeline. Here's your daring challenge this week. Choose one area where you're quietly growing right now. You can pick confidence, or you could pick clarity, or maybe it's picking what's next for you. It could be courage to explore a new direction. Now ask yourself, what's one choice I can make this week to protect that growth? It might be saying no to something that drains you. It could be carving out 20 minutes in your schedule to think without distractions. Or it could be reaching out to one person who energizes you and supports you. So what would it look like to stay on the trail this week, to give yourself the time and space your progress deserves? Picture yourself stepping lightly, protecting what's still forming, trusting that the woman you're becoming is worth the patience. Before we left that trail, Jessica looked back at us and smiled. If everyone stays on the trail, she said, this crust will be here for generations. But if we all just wander wherever we want, it'll disappear. Then she hit the gas on that pink Jeep and we bumped off towards the next vista. But her words stayed with me because it's true for the desert and it's true for you. Your growth matters. Your pace matters. And every small choice you make to protect what's forming inside you, that matters too. So protect your progress, step lightly around what's still fragile, and the next time you're tempted to rush your growth or judge yourself for not being further along, remember Jessica's words. Stay on the trail, don't bust the crust. Thanks so much for listening, friend. Stay curious, stay grounded, and as always, stay daring. Thank you so much for joining me today on Dim to Daring. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you subscribed, shared it with a friend, or left a review. It helps more women just like you discover the show. Remember, you're not finished yet, you're just getting started. Until next time, keep daring to grow and shine.